To Washington now, and the latest on President Biden's handling of classified materials dating back to his vice presidency. Facing mounting criticism, the White House took questions from reporters yesterday. It's the first time that's happened since we learned last week about those batches of classified documents found in Mr. Biden's former D.C. office and his Delaware home. For the latest on the investigation, let's bring in NBC News White House correspondent Mike Memoli. Mike, good morning. So walk us through some of the biggest takeaways from yesterday's call with reporters. What is it the administration, or what's the strategy, I guess, for the administration going on the record now?
Well, Joe, one of the takeaways was that this call happened at all, right? We've been watching those press briefings with Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, who continues to refer questions to the White House counsel's office. Well, yesterday, more than a week after we learned of this disclosure of classified documents, was the first time the White House counsel's office took questions in a real fulsome way. And 10 questions from reporters, all the answers boiled down to three things. You see them on screen there. One, referring a lot of the questions either to the president's personal attorneys, the Justice Department, the FBI, then explaining why they felt they needed to refer those questions. And they talked repeatedly about what they said was a tension between the desire to put more information out into the public sphere, but also not wanting to interfere with the ongoing investigation. And lastly, and I thought this was interesting, they tried to go on offense a little bit here. They really attacked the Republicans who have been attacking the president by saying, one, they really didn't utter a peep, as it was put on this call, when the former president, Donald Trump, was found to also have classified documents in his possession, or they explained it away. And so they really were trying to call out the hypocrisy. One of the questions, of course, Joe, is was this a one-off? Are we going to have these calls daily, or is this a signal of the new strategy to come?
Mike, I want to ask you more about point number 3 there, the White House making a point to call it Republicans, calling it, quote, fake outrage over President Biden's handling of the materials, arguing the GOP's been either silent or outright defended former President Trump for his handling of classified documents. What's GOP leadership saying now about all this?
Well, we've really been hearing two different things from Republican leadership in the same vein. The first is that they're pointing to 2019 when Democrats took control of Congress and launched a slew of investigations into President Trump. They're arguing that the kind of oversight Republicans on Capitol Hill are doing now is legitimate and similar to what Democrats did. But we also heard from the speaker yesterday in which he talked about what he continues to argue is a double standard on the part of the Justice Department and law enforcement generally when it comes to one president versus another. Take a listen.
For the same amount of agents investigating this that are investigating President Trump, is the same push behind it. It just does not seem fair. This is why the American people get so upset and distrust their government when they see that the law is not applied equally.
Now, when we've seen this flurry of letters from Capitol Hill directed at the White House, they launched their oversight investigations. One of the questions is, how is the White House going to respond? Put that question to the White House yesterday, and they said, listen, we're going to read all these requests. We're going to respond in good faith. But they also said they want to see Republicans acting in good faith here, and they don't believe that's happening.
Mike, we should note it's not just Republicans. Some of President Biden's Democratic allies have been critical of his handling of this whole controversy. What are they hoping to see going forward as these investigations continue?
Well, I think one of the things that we heard in reporting we've been doing over the last few days, our White House team, is one of the top recommendations we've heard is that they really need to bring somebody in to help the White House manage this situation. A lot of the officials we've been hearing from in the last few days were really brought into the White House to not deal with an investigation by a special counsel into classified documents, but to deal with more routine oversight matters. And so there's a real suggestion that there needs to be sort of an adult in the room who can come and help with this situation. But I think the other thing that the Democratic allies are really impressing is they don't want to hear any more drip. It seems even over the weekend we learned of more pages found in the president's garage, and they think the White House really needs to answer definitively whether the searches are complete, whether there's anything more to be found. And at this point, the White House is saying they can't answer those questions because it's in the hands of law enforcement.
All right, Mike Memoli. Mike, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.